Stephanie Moles was a big drinker, but she didn't consider herself an alcoholic until one morning.
I woke up and startled because I didn't remember what I did with the children. And I flew the door open and there they were in their beds, asleep. And I don't know how they got there. That was the day that I knew I couldn't go on anymore. And that day I took a ride down a road and showed up at a place where people who drink a lot show up, and I told my story. Every day since then has been amazing. And then I started seeing women around me.
After several years in recovery, Stephanie began to see a pattern.
I was sitting in a room of women seeking recovery, and I was listening to women telling stories about relapse. I cannot hear that story and not do something.
Stephanie's epiphany led her to start an online recovery program for women.
The biggest issue was transition. How do you go from this crazy alcoholic life, then you go to treatment, which is organized and clean and regular meals, back to this crazy life? They were all struggling with it. So, started a company. Started a company called The Woman's Heart. 40% of the women who had come to the site over those years were veterans, having the same struggles as women who had substance abuse and alcoholism. These women had depression and they were dealing with sexual assault. They were looking for help, and they had found us. We reorged, named it Grace After Fire. The mission of Grace After Fire is to protect the women, is to make sure that they've come somewhere that they can be who they are, and then to give them that opportunity to renew, to wake up and have that awareness that that's what happened. It's not who I am.
One of the big reasons Grace After Fire works is that the veterans are counseled by women who have also served in the military, so they understand what they have faced.
What is difficult about transitioning back out of a war zone is finding what is normal. When you are deployed, that is normal. Gunshots going off at night is normal. It's not normal in Austin, Texas.
Grace After Fire counselors go into their communities, to the VFWs, and even to supermarkets and libraries to find female veterans and connect them to services for housing, childcare, employment, and health care. Grace also has an online support program and a call center.
The one thing that Grace does that I think is the first step for women who are extremely guarded is the online, because it's anonymous. You can write whatever you want to write on there, and it's a safe place to do that. A woman in crisis calling the call network, they're going to talk to another woman veteran, and that's powerful.
Like many civilians who enter the military, Grace's outreach coordinator, Tish McCullough, saw the military as a path to college.
Within a month and a half of graduating from high school, I was in the Army.
Tish served in the military for 20 years. Her last deployment was in Iraq.
It was like that 5-10 minutes waiting to go out of the gate had to be the hardest thing for me, because I just sit there and pray, don't let anything happen to me where my kids are left motherless.
I missed her. You know, I had friends and their moms were always there, and you know, I just had the constant worry of not knowing if my mom was gonna come home or not.
Next week, we'll hear about Tish's struggles in returning to civilian life and how she became a part of Grace After Fire.
When I first got back, I turned to drinking as a way to soften that blow.